My name is Lisa, and I never expected my life to take such a dramatic and painful turn. I always tried to be a loving and devoted wife, putting my family first and making sacrifices to support my husband Jack's ambitions. Little did I know that our seemingly perfect life would be shattered by his deception and betrayal. It was a rainy evening, and I was preparing dinner for the family when Jack walked into the kitchen with a somber expression. He told me he had something important to discuss. I asked him what was bothering him, and he hesitated before finally saying, "Lisa, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm leaving you for someone else." My heart dropped to the floor. I could hardly comprehend the words he had just spoken. "What are you talking about, Jack? Is this some kind of joke?" I stammered, my hands shaking as I gripped the kitchen counter. "No, Lisa, it's not a joke," Jack replied coldly. "I've met someone else, and I can't do this anymore. You've been neglecting me for years, and I deserve better." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The accusation was unfounded, and I knew I had always given him my love and support. I felt tears welling up in my eyes as I tried to understand what was happening. "But Jack, I've always been here for you, supporting you in everything you do. How can you say I've neglected you?" Jack's face showed no remorse as he responded, "That's just it, Lisa. You've been so focused on the kids and your own little world that you haven't noticed how unhappy I've been. Isabella understands me in ways you never have." The mention of her name was like a dagger through my heart. I couldn't fathom how the man I loved could have done this to me, to our family. I begged him to reconsider, to think of our children, but he remained steadfast in his decision. "I'm sorry, Lisa, but my mind is made up," he said, grabbing his suitcase from the hallway. "I'll arrange for my things to be picked up later. I can't do this anymore." As he walked out the door, leaving me sobbing in the kitchen, I felt as if my world had come crashing down around me. My children, hearing the commotion, came running downstairs, their faces full of concern. I tried to put on a brave face for them, but I knew our lives would never be the same. Days after Jack left, I was still reeling from the shock of his betrayal. My best friend Karen came over one evening, trying to lift my spirits. As we sat on the couch, sipping tea and talking, I couldn't help but wonder what I had missed in my marriage. "Lisa, you're a strong woman, and you'll get through this," Karen reassured me. "But you need to know the truth about Jack and Isabella." "What do you mean?" I asked, my heart racing at the thought of discovering more painful secrets. "Let's look at Jack's old laptop," Karen suggested. "Maybe there's something there that can help you understand why he did this." As we powered up the laptop, I hesitated, unsure if I wanted to uncover more of Jack's deception, but Karen encouraged me to keep going, and we began sifting through his files. My heart nearly stopped when we found a hidden folder filled with text messages and emails between Jack and Isabella. As I read their words, my shock turned to outrage. They had been seeing each other for years, right under my nose. But there was more. Not only were they lovers, but they had also concocted an elaborate plot to frame me for adultery and steal my family's fortune. I couldn't believe what I was reading. One message from Isabella read, "Jack, once we convince everyone that Lisa has been unfaithful, we can take control of her inheritance. She won't see it coming." Jack's reply was equally cold and calculating. "I know Isabella, she's so naive. We just need to be patient and play our cards right." The depth of their betrayal was staggering, and I felt my blood boiling with rage. How could they plan to ruin my life and leave my children penniless? As I continued reading their messages, I learned more about Isabella's true nature. She was manipulative, cunning, and heartless, with a long history of exploiting vulnerable people for her own gain. "Lisa, I know this is hard," Karen said, placing her hand on my shoulder. "But you need to fight back. You can't let them get away with this." As I wiped away my tears, I knew Karen was right. I had to expose their deceit and protect my children, no matter the cost. Over the next few weeks, Karen and I worked tirelessly to gather evidence against Jack and Isabella. We knew that to bring them down, we needed indisputable proof of their deceitful plot. We spent countless hours scouring financial records and documenting their secret meetings. One day, as we sat at my kitchen table going over our findings, Karen spoke up. "Lisa, we have a lot of evidence here, but we need a strategy. How do we expose them without putting your family's wealth at risk?" I thought for a moment, trying to come up with a plan. "We need to be smart about this. We have to make sure that when we reveal the truth, There's no way for them to wriggle out of it. We should consult with a lawyer and make sure everything is airtight. Karen nodded in agreement. That's a good idea. I know a great lawyer who specializes in cases like this. I'll set up a meeting with her. As we met with the lawyer, we laid out all the evidence we had gathered. She listened intently, taking notes and asking questions. Finally, she spoke. You have a strong case here, but it's crucial that we approach this carefully. We'll need to ensure that your family's fortune is protected and that Jack and Isabella can't escape the consequences of their actions. Together, we crafted a plan to expose Jack and Isabella while safeguarding my family's wealth. We decided that the best course of action was for me to confront Jack with the evidence and record the conversation, while the lawyer filed the necessary legal documents to freeze their access to my family's assets. As the day of the confrontation approached, my nerves were on edge, but I knew that I couldn't back down now. I had to face Jack and Isabella, reveal their treachery, and reclaim control over my life. The day of the confrontation finally arrived, and my stomach churned with anticipation. Karen accompanied me for moral support as we drove to Jack's new apartment, where he was now living with Isabella. I clutched a folder containing all the evidence we had gathered, my hands shaking slightly. Karen squeezed my hand, whispering, "You can do this, Lisa. We're so close." We knocked on the door, and Jack opened it, his face paling when he saw me standing there. "Lisa, what are you doing here?" he stammered. "It's time we talked, Jack," I said firmly, stepping into the apartment. Isabella appeared from the living room, her eyes narrowing when she saw me. "You too, Isabella. This concerns you as well." I wasted no time getting to the point. "I know everything, Jack. I know about your affair with Isabella, and I know about your plan to frame me for adultery and steal my family's fortune." Jack's face turned crimson and he sputtered, "I don't know what you're talking about, Lisa. You're just trying to cause trouble." Isabella chimed in, her voice dripping with condescension. "Poor, delusional Lisa. Still trying to cling to your pathetic little life." I ignored her snide remark and opened the folder, laying the evidence out on the table. "This is proof of your betrayal, Jack. The text messages, the emails, the financial transactions, everything. You can't deny it anymore." Jack's eyes widened as he looked at the evidence, and he began to stammer defensively. "Lisa, this isn't what it looks like. We can explain." Isabella shot him a glare, then turned to me, her voice cold and calculated. "You think you've won, Lisa? You have no idea what you're up against." But I stood my ground, my voice unwavering. "No, Isabella, I know exactly what I'm up against, and I won't let you destroy my family. My lawyer has already taken steps to protect our assets, and you'll both be held accountable for your actions." As the reality of the situation dawned on them, their faces turned ashen. They knew they were cornered, and there was no way out. In the days following the confrontation, the full weight of our evidence and the legal proceedings bore down on Jack and Isabella. Their scheme crumbled around them, leaving them to face the severe legal consequences of their actions. One evening, as I sat at home with Karen and my children, we received a call from our lawyer. "Lisa, I have good news," she said. "The judge ruled in your favor. Jack and Isabella's assets have been frozen, and they'll be facing criminal charges for their actions." My heart swelled with relief and gratitude as I thanked the lawyer for her hard work. Turning to Karen, I shared the news, and we hugged each other, tears streaming down our faces. "We did it, Lisa," Karen whispered. "You stood up for yourself and your family, and justice has prevailed." With the legal battle won, I successfully regained control of my family's fortune, ensuring the safety and future of my children. Slowly, we began to rebuild our lives, putting the pain and betrayal behind us. As for Jack and Isabella, they were left to face the consequences of their actions. Their reputations in ruins, they had no hope for redemption or reconciliation. Their once thriving careers were now a distant memory, as they were forced to confront the harsh reality of their choices. In the end, my strength and determination won out, and I emerged victorious. The story of unveiling deceit concluded with a dramatic and satisfying victory for me, the oppressed heroine, while my oppressors, Jack and Isabella, were left to face the fallout of their deceitful scheme.